Pep-Boys.
Hey, this is Dave here. Guys, one of the most essential parts of having a great life is having safe transportation for you and especially for your family. So definitely go see our man, Richie, at Pep-Boys in Daytona Beach, Florida.
And this is Max. What I hate the most, Dave, is when you start up your car and it goes do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and you know it's going to be a long day. Well, if I know Pep-Boys has my back, it's going to be a great day. So no matter what happens, go to Pep-Boys for any issue, give you the best deal, and completely fix all your problems.
And tell them Locked In sent you.
What's up, guys? Max here. Let us introduce you to Wicked Cutz, the best quality haircut around. They have 2 locations, right, Dave?
Yeah, bud. They got one in South Daytona and also the second, the brand new one in Port Orange, Florida.
Now, here's the thing. In order to book an appointment, you can visit wickedcutz.com or download the Booksy app. And every Tuesday and Wednesday, if you mention Locked In, you get $5 off your fresh cut for both locations.
What? $5 off? That's amazing, guys. Check them out, lastly, at Facebook and Instagram at Wicked Cutz Barbershop. Do you want the best meals every day? Then get with Fit Meals. Call them at 844-FIT-4U.
Hey, guys. Max here. What I like about Fit Meals is this. It's fit for everybody. If you don't like certain foods, he takes it out. If you like certain foods, he adds that in. It's for everybody. If you're an athlete trying to gain muscle, if you're trying to lose weight, or you're just busy and you don't have the time to cook, Fit Meals is for you. Go to myfitmeals.com and start your plan today.
844-FIT-4U.
All right, and we're live. We're in the studio. We have 2 special guests joining us. We have the guru himself, Ryan. You've never changed that title. You'll always be the guru no matter what.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Back-to-back mock drafts, 2017 to 2018. Still at it. I love it. The guru in the building.
We're starting to get our years up. So now we can officially say this is our second mock draft.
Wow.
Second annual.
Oh, well, there you go. There's Sean. I was going to introduce him.
What up?
Our producer. Well, he's pitching in today, the conversation, NFL Talk.
Yes,
Itching in
sir.
the tit.
Okay, here we go. So, obviously, NFL guru. Sean's talking. We're talking football.
Yes.
Let's dive into the NFL mock draft Locked In year number 2.
Okay. Sounds good, guys. Number 1, we have the Cleveland Browns. They picked number 1. And number 4, Giggle City.
Okay, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it here. Okay, so Dave may be laughing. Okay. Brian slowly takes the paper away from Dave and hands it to me. Okay, so Cleveland Browns projected to draft Sam Darnold. Guru, give us your input. Let me start with this now. 2 questions. 1, do you think he deserves to be the number 1 overall pick? And 2, do you think he will be the number 1 overall pick? Come on, Dave, try again.
I like Sam Darnold. I think he's a very good prospect. He's got a lot to like about him. It's good size, good arm, makes a lot of plays, steps up big time in a lot of moments that matter. Has some flaws, turned the ball over a lot more than you would like this last season. And mechanics aren't all there. A long windup would probably be the worst part of that. Mm-hmm. Do I think he will go number 1? I'm not confident, but I would say, yeah, I do think. Do I think he should go number 1? I'll say no because there's another quarterback I think should go number 1.
One thing that you said that he steps up in big moments. To me, that's what you want out of your quarterback. That's a big time. That's a big it factor that he has.
Yeah, Vince Young stepped up in big moments.
Okay, so pick number 2.
Wow.
No, I'm a Sam Darnold guy. I think he will be a home run quarterback. He will be a division winner, conference winner. I have high hopes on Sam Darnold. Andrew Luck or bust. It's that big.
I like him a lot too. I think he's the second best quarterback, and I think he's worthy of a top 2 or 3 pick. There's one other guy I would pick.
I don't think I want to ask you yet, right? Because you'll say it later on in the picks. But
yeah, it'll come up.
Okay, all right. Sean, you like Sam Darnold number 1?
Wow. It's pretty good. I mean, I don't trust a quarterback in Cleveland anyway. They're horrible handing quarterbacks. I feel bad for Sam Darnold if they do end up picking him. You know, I think it's a losing battle.
This man, Dave. I'm sorry. Keep going. I'm trying to.
No, that was
okay. I've said it since last year's mock draft, and I nailed. Since we're talking about this once again, I have to give myself credit this time. I nailed the Deshaun Watson last year in the NFL draft. This year, Not spoiling it, but I definitely think there's someone who stands out. But my premise hasn't changed. I do think a quarterback is what changes your franchise, and that's what I think should be drafted number one.
Absolutely.
You can argue all day on which quarterback should be drafted number one, but I do believe a quarterback should be drafted number one.
I totally agree.
So we all kind of agree on that standpoint.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
Number 2 guys are the New York Football Giants. They're never this high, so they got to make a big-time pick. Big-time pick. Max, these are your New York Giants. In this mock draft, they got Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley, man. All right, Dave is struggling tonight. Listen, I guess I'll take the first bids on this, and then Guru, you can follow up. I'm gonna say something that nobody usually wants to say, if that's how I want to put it. Saquon Barkley, they say it has like the least bust potential, and he's definitely going to be effective in the NFL. But I still think you draft a quarterback. And I may be crazy for saying this, but I think Eli Manning is towards the end of his career. Whether you think he should be done or not, okay, I completely understand your side if you say he still has a couple years left in him. But I definitely think you start preparing for your future and you do draft a quarterback. And maybe he sits behind Eli Manning for a year or two, learns from him, learns that championship mentality, because he has won a championship, obviously.
Two.
So I definitely think you draft a quarterback and then you go there.
What quarterback would you pick? You're a Giant fan.
Assuming Sam Darnold's number one, I'd go Josh Rosen.
Okay. No, I love that pick. I love Josh Rosen.
Ryan, you
Guru,
followed
number 2?
up. You looked at me kind of happy, so I'm assuming Josh Rosen's your favorite quarterback.
I'll come to that later. So I'll talk about Saquon Barkley instead of who the Giants should pick or a different position. I like him a lot. I think he's one of the best running back prospects we've seen. There's just really no holes there. In everything you see about looks like a great kid, hard worker, and I think that's part of the people being low on his bust potential because they don't see any off the field issues. They're not worried about him coming in and getting lazy or all
more
that.
mature.
So
Zeke.
Yes, and so
Scary.
High end talent. A lot of people say the running back position's devalued. It's not so much that the position's devalued. They touch the ball a ton. They're more involved in the passing game than they've ever been. They help protect the quarterback, which is the only position more important than running back. Its individual players have been devalued because of running back by committee.
That's a great point.
Because of injuries and because of shorter careers. But if you have a guy that has no injury question marks, that you want, he is so much head and shoulders better than the other running backs on your roster, so you want him on the field 80-90% of the time. You're not going to do running back by committee. And
he's a grown-up, too.
Yes. So I believe there's value in Saquon Barkley. And I would not at all fault them for making that the pick. Even though I'm not an Eli fan and I think they could upgrade at quarterback. But
you know why the running back position is considered devalued now? It's fantasy sports because people want their running backs aren't performing the way they used to because they're doing either running back by committee or they're doing that type of thing. The running back is still important, but because fantasy football is so prevalent,
it's taking over.
It's that people they devalue that running back position because they're not putting up the stats on paper. They might be still helping their team to win, but they're not putting up the quote unquote stats for these guys.
Well, that's the individual part of it a lot is because there's so many that are by committee, so they're not rushing for 1,500 yards and stuff very often.
Right,
anymore.
exactly.
But
real quick, as a prospect, do you like Barkley or Gurley?
Coming out?
Yeah.
Barkley, he doesn't have the big injury question mark. Gurley
Barkley or Elliott?
Barkley because of the maturity.
So you have Barkley as the best running back of the last 3-4 years?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I have Barkley.
Wow,
I have Saquon Barkley, the best running back since Adrian Peterson.
Whoa.
And
Dude.
he's a better in the receiving game than Adrian Peterson.
way
Adrian
better.
Peterson's just the best pure runner I ever saw.
So he's an
Best 20
obvious
years.
number 2 pick.
Unless you identify a quarterback that you believe is that guy, and if if Sam Darnold was who they believed was that
So
guy
you
and
still
he
have
gets
Josh
picked, then
Rosen.
you go with that.
Just throwing it out there, and I didn't think we would spend this too much time on Barkley, but he's had like 6-7 games that he ran for like 60, 65 yards in Penn
Did you
State.
watch any of those games? Those teams just stack the box on him.
And just say, hey, quarterback beat us. Okay.
Yeah, and if you have a running back that makes teams do that, good for you. Your quarterback's going to benefit.
So you don't think my quarterback theory is crazy, though? About
not at all.
getting
But
Rosen.
if I'm the one doing that pick, it's Josh Rosen.
What do you think?
Oh, Josh Rosen, 100%.
So why don't they do that? I'm not saying they still can't because obviously there's still a possibility, but
They
the
still
more
can.
than probable that they do draft Saquon Barkley.
I would. If they don't, it's because they weren't sold on any of those quarterbacks to be the guy. Josh Rosen, there
It's a
are
safe pick.
question marks that people have that are kind of different than what you typically have, and we'll get to those when we get to him.
And just back to the Giants, a lot of people still think that Eli has something in the tank.
Yeah.
So if you have Eli in the tank, you got your left tackle now in free agency. You have Odell coming back from injury. The defense was awesome 2 years ago. It's just a weird offseason for the Giants. They've had an awful running back for 5-6 years, so they think it's a big hole.
Eli's tank was empty 5 years ago. But
And it's a safe pick, especially for your fan base.
I
Knowing
agree with that. No, I think it's a safe pick. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think me and you had that debate a few episodes ago, and I think I'm kind of getting more on your fence because they aren't in this position very often, in this high of a pick.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think when we originally were talking, it was more, I didn't think that Eli was done now, but I think that they can get somebody to get behind him for a couple of years. And
Yeah.
I think that would be a good reason to pick a quarterback over that running back.
Well, you just gave me credit, Dave. I'm gonna give you credit because
Thanks, man.
I was kind of like, you cracked me up, man. I was like I was just so head and shoulders over. Get rid of Eli, start Josh Rosen, hope and pray the Lord you get Sam Darnold.
Yeah, sure.
But you talked me into it. Okay, whether you love or hate Eli, let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. He has 2-3 years. Just say 2.
I think he
That's
does.
still really valuable to sit behind Eli. So I think that's what you do. I really do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Cool. We spent a lot of good time on that. Number 3 pick, New York to New York. So we got the New York Jets. They had the number 6. They traded with the Colts. In this mock draft, they got him picking Baker Mayfield. I have a lot to talk about him, but the guru, I will give you the floor
Yeah,
first.
I'm
You
not a Baker
are
fan.
our guest, but
well, first I gotta give
You
this
love
disclaimer:
Baker
is
I know.
I'm gonna be a little biased against Baker because he's a Sooner, and I'll just leave it at that. I do not like that pick. I'm not a huge fan of Baker Mayfield's, especially not this high. If he was late first, I'd say okay, you're taking a shot, seeing how it works. But he is the most accurate when you watch these quarterbacks, but he also usually had a ton of time in the pocket, wasn't facing pressure, and usually was thrown to very open receivers. So a lot of NFL-type throws and concepts he didn't have to deal with. He wasn't having to make a lot of timing throws and throw into a lot of tight windows, so that's still a big question mark. He is a little undersized, which quarterbacks have shown they can overcome, but it is a factor. And then there's my biggest thing with him is the off-the-field stuff.
absolutely.
As a leadership position.
Yeah, he's been a knucklehead in many ways, to include getting arrested and not just getting arrested, running from the cops, getting tackled.
And getting caught.
Yeah, gets caught, gets tackled, and then even on that tape, he's whining and screaming like he's the victim in all this when he just ran and got caught by the cops and got arrested. And then I recently saw an interview with him where he was asked about that, and instead of manning up and saying, I made a mistake, it was dumb, I learned from it, he went with, oh, it's just like my play on the field. I say next play, so I'm not really trying to worry about the past. I'm just worried about
terrible.
the future.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
like,
terrible.
So,
Oh, gosh.
Come on.
It's a jet pick.
yeah.
And he got caught.
Honestly, it's a Cleveland pick, so I'm not surprised if he goes number 1.
Yeah, it's
But hopefully they learned a lesson from Johnny Manziel and they stay away from him.
But he definitely has traits of Johnny Manziel.
I see a lot of Johnny Manziel in him. Not a lot.
I'm not saying he'll be as bad as
Johnny
Johnny.
Manziel's had multiple flaws, but his ultimate downfall was obviously substance abuse, and I have no idea if he has that as a problem or not. But
Yeah.
I would not touch that guy. He's a Sooner, so I wouldn't touch him in round 7, but anywhere near the top of the draft.
Are you about to add something, Dave? Or
I was just gonna say a quarterback off the field trouble. It's a red flag. I'm just done with it. I don't want it. I want a quarterback who's quiet, quarterback who's usually the first guy there, the last to leave. I do not like Baker Mayfield at all.
Especially in this draft when you have some other good options.
Yeah, very
Sean,
true.
you got
I was
something?
going to say another flag for me is just the headline that says Ryan Leaf says Baker Mayfield reminds him of himself.
Oh, okay.
Okay. See, now look,
Moving on.
I do have one thing to say because I'm not a Baker Mayfield fan. So you say he's short, but he's accurate in his passes. People have compared him to Drew Brees and like Russell Wilson. When you set him up to those type of people, that caliber of player, you're only setting him up for failure. Does he even resemble anything with Drew Brees and
Those
Russell
are
Wilson?
two of the best, smartest, most mature quarterbacks in the world
And
ever.
mature is even the key word. If you're even insanely gifted, you have to be mature, which he is not. And then let's just talk about the athletic point of view. He's nowhere near as athletic as Russell Wilson. Nobody even talks about that. So if you're short and don't have the athletic ability as Russell Wilson and the maturity of Russell Wilson, how can you get compared to him?
I think it's just the stature. I mean, he's
Yeah.
6'1".
They're taking the size.
It's like I'm Chris
Yeah.
Paul's height. I'm Chris Paul.
Right.
So it's,
Yeah.
it was,
I mean,
I'm
he does
6
have
foot, I'm not Drew
some
Brees.
arm talent and is accurate with the football. So
Yeah.
you got to give him that. And if he suddenly matures and gets his head on right and gets in the right situation, he could have some success because he does have some arm talent. But number 3 overall is crazy. So.
If.
All right,
Cool.
number 4th pick.
So wait, so what was? I'm just getting a rundown here. So just real quick. So I've got. What was your first pick? You guys all kind of pretty much did Darnold,
Yeah.
and then the second pick was what you said.
I think they go Saquon Barkley.
You
I
say
want
Barkley?
Josh Rosen.
You want Rosen,
but
you
I think they go
Barkley?
Barkley.
Who I think they go?
Yeah.
What do you think? What is?
What's
what
our
your
mock
pick?
draft?
What is your pick?
Oh,
What do you
my
think?
pick
No,
for the
my
Giants?
Cleveland number 1.
Right. What is your pick?
Okay.
I'm getting
Way
this
to
down.
catch this.
so
Yeah,
we've
way to
got-
catch this
Facts.
now.
I love it. My number 1 was Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
My number 2, I have the New York Giants picking Bradley Chubb.
I'm gonna say Josh Allen for number 1 overall.
Wow, really?
Yeah, not that he should.
Okay.
Said he will.
And then what was the number 2?
Then I'm gonna say Sam Darnold for number 2.
Okay.
I would love that.
And then Max, you said what?
I'm gonna go Sam Darnold 1, Barkley 2.
Okay. And then what did we decide on as a consensus here on this third
First the
pick?
third.
If
Dave,
it's
you-
us,
Because we threw around, what are your picks? Because that's what we're kind of going through, and we're kind of
okay,
throwing
that's
picks
a
around.
little confusing.
Who
What-
we think they're gonna
who
pick,
do we
or
think
we think they should pick?
What are we discussing? What we're
I think
thinking?
we should do our mock draft on what will happen.
Is that what you want to do?
That's what I
Or
think.
what you're because mock draft is what
We're trying to predict what will happen.
right.
Yeah, so that's what we should do.
Okay.
okay.
Because it's okay.
What will
You're
happen.
predicting what will happen.
Yeah. The third pick, the Jets will pick Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
I'm
I agree.
locked in with that.
I agree. So this is what
it's
we're.
a bad pick.
Right.
I wouldn't do it.
There you
That's
go.
what I think will happen.
So
Right.
it doesn't mean you have to agree with it, but what
You're not
we
the
think.
GM.
Oh,
You're
okay.
just you're predicting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
Ryan, the guru.
It's just hard to believe that there's not people in the NFL or
They're
there's people in
smart
the
enough
NFL
to
who
do-
would pick Mayfield over Josh Rosen, but I'll go with Mayfield.
Wow. All right, guys.
Wow. So you have him going.
The number 4th pick was the Houston Texans. They traded up last year to get Deshaun Watson. We think it's a good pick, but they lost the number 4 overall. It belongs to the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
And in this mock draft, they have them picking Bradley Chubb, defensive end, North Carolina State. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I like Chubb a lot. There's a few guys in this draft, and Barkley was one of the others, and there's one other I'll say that's high floor, high ceiling, and you
Yeah.
don't get that very often. That's why they go real high in the draft. And I'll tell you, I was watching a couple of the tapes on Chubb the other day, and I was like, he reminds me of someone. I can't think of who it is. And finally, the way he plays, he's not a real bend guy, but he's got some speed and athleticism. But he's also got power. He uses his hands a lot, and he just goes hard every play. And it's Jared Allen that he reminds me of.
Ooh.
He's a little more athletic than Allen, but Allen was underrated athletic. He's
He
a lot more
was.
athletic than people
Great
give him credit
career.
for.
Yeah, he was.
And he just he didn't bend, and he went like a Von Miller with that, but he did have some speed and some get off. But he also would win with power. He just won in a variety of ways and a lot of good technique and hand movement.
That's a
and
good
then
analogy.
he just went hard every play, and that's who Bradley Chubb reminds me of. And I like him a lot. Like I said, I think he's high floor, high ceiling.
Awesome.
So you're saying Chubb at number 4? Are you thinking that Cleveland's going to do that, or do you think?
Can we touch on your theory real quick about the 2 quarterbacks?
Well, in my mock, Barkley's available. So.
Because you talked about you don't think it's a terrible idea that they draft 2 quarterbacks.
So
If I heard you correctly, right, for the Cleveland.
'Cause
I
just
think
said he's
because
available.
of how inept they've been at evaluating quarterbacks, they have to get that position. They have to have
You
some
don't-
success.
but do you think they'll do it?
No.
Okay, but back to your theory. Wouldn't that? This is what my counter theory would be to that. So let's just talk about basketball for 1 second. So Ben Simmons on the 76ers. If LeBron James goes to the 76ers, you have to talk about him. You're insured to have a great player, but that could stunt the growth of Ben Simmons
Yeah.
because he needs the ball. Don't you think that could stunt the growth of both quarterbacks? No matter who you want, because now they have to. You don't know who you exactly want. And I think that definitely stunts the growth.
You start their career off on a
No,
QB controversy.
Yeah.
You say battle. It's unprecedented, and there's controversy to it. Battle it out. The best man wins. We're trading the other one. It's that simple. Get a first round back for the other one that you trade. You'll get a first round. If you
It was controversy that Seattle paid tons of money to Matt Flynn and started Russell Wilson, but it was the right thing to do.
True.
Yeah.
You know, it's
by
just
the way,
no one's ever done it
LeBron
before.
analogy. When he went to Miami, it was him and Wade are both ball dominant. How's that going to work? It worked.
2 championships.
Chris Paul and
Yeah.
James Harden were both point guards last year.
But you
It
can only
worked.
have one quarterback.
Was it Mike Glennon? last year. They paid.
Yeah, a little
they
bit
paid
to
that money. They
Chicago.
got
Really?
Hire
The other
Richie
one.
Trubisky.
You're trading the other one.
Yeah, he's saying he doesn't
So
even
you
play
keep
for him.
one guaranteed. You just have them to see who you want more.
Yeah, you've screwed this up so many times. Let them play.
So you think that's okay, Dave? You like
No,
you,
no,
you
I
get
think
that?
it's. I would not do it.
You just defended Ryan, so now
I'm just saying I see the reasoning of it, and I see what he's saying.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do it. No way. Especially, it's not like the 9th pick or the 11th pick. Especially in how this draft works. I love Bradley Chubb and I love Barkley. Like, I'm with you guys. I love both those players. And the Jets, I think, are going to screw it up and pick Baker, and then another quarterback will be picked. So I just think you can't. Dude, Bradley Chubb, some people have him better than Myles Garrett, who was the first pick last year. It's like you're almost getting 2 number 1 picks overall. It's pretty unprecedented. It's awesome.
I think they.
In my mock, I would have Saquon going 4
Okay.
because they have Myles Garrett already, and I think they would value Saquon.
Yeah,
going-
I'm gonna put all this together for at least the
Okay.
first round, so
Cool.
that we can compare what actually happened and what we're predicting what's gonna happen.
Love it. All right.
My mock draft, I think they do draft Chubb because I think they have Sam Darnold first. So you secured your quarterback position, hopefully. So then, yeah, I think they go that route.
Cool.
Dave, you had Chubb already going, right?
Yeah, Barkley goes 4 to them.
Okay.
I think they
Wow,
like
so they
Barkley a
get
lot.
Barkley and Darnold on
Yeah,
yours.
I kind of.
So the
a
Browns
month
are
ago
great.
I said that. Like, I just think you get your quarterback and your running back for the future, offensive, and they got Jarvis Landry in the offseason. They're pretty stacked. All right, let's keep this train going, guys. Number 5, Denver Broncos. They got Case Keenum in free agency. They could go a quarterback here. I think they should, but they picked Denzel Ward, cornerback, Ohio State. Guru, what you think?
Like him a lot. I said there were some guys. I have 4 guys that I would consider that high floor, high ceiling, and he's one of them.
Okay, good.
I like him a lot. And
So
I'll get to
Chubb,
my last.
Barkley.
My last one's my favorite player in this whole draft. When we get to him,
So Chubb, Barkley, and now Ward's your 3rd out of the 4.
3 out of the 4,
Okay.
and it's just super. I mean, you probably watched a lot of Ohio State games last year, and every time you watched and you saw him, you were just he was always in the guy's pocket.
Yeah, he
was
jumps
right
out on the screen.
there. Yeah, and
he does.
His number, all the testing numbers backed it up. You heard nothing negative about him. Far as any off the field, supposed to be a good kid, and I just think worst case scenario, you've got a good starter for a long time, and I think his upside is just he's all pro.
Especially they lost Talib in the offseason, so kind of it fits. I think it fits. I'm with that pick. You guys like it, Max Sean?
Yes, is across the board.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I
excuse me.
was gonna say, I'm looking at there. Do you think they trade it?
Oh,
Yes.
very strong possibility.
Yeah,
of trade.
really. Yeah,
Them and Indy are out of those 2 picks. I'd be
Buffalo
shocked
and
if one or
Arizona.
both don't get traded.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because do you think is there a team do you think that wants that 5 pick? Because at this point, you still got another quarterback that's out there.
Oh yeah, Josh Allen and Josh Rosen are out there.
Right.
So I think Buffalo and the Arizona Cardinals both want to move up.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that trade does get picked.
Do you
That
do you
gets
would
traded.
you bet more on a trade versus actually picking, say, the Denzel Ward?
Denver, yes, in particular Denver, because there's going to be some teams that try to get ahead of Indy for that 3rd or 4th quarterback, however many are gone.
Yeah,
So I think Denver's spot is
70-30, yes, it gets traded.
yeah.
Because I mean, if they do Buffalo's what 12.
Yeah.
So if they drop down to 12, do you think they can still get Denzel Ward
No,
or get
no.
somebody like that? You
No,
think?
they're not getting Denzel Ward.
Yeah, Ward doesn't make it to 12, but there's still a lot of great players there.
Right.
Yeah. I love the teams actually this year in the draft.
Okay. So what do you think there, Max?
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm about to laugh.
So what is
David made me laugh.
your decision then on what you think is going to be number 5?
I think number 5 will be Josh Rosen with Buffalo trading up.
So Buffalo picking Rosen.
Yes.
Wow,
Locked.
that's not bad.
I really do. I think
I
Buffalo
concur.
guys have 2 1s.
Same thing. Yep.
Really? Oh my god! No, if
Wait,
the
wait,
guru thinks it, that means
I
I'm
know
like
now.
onto
Now I
something.
feel like I'm obligated to
Yeah.
say that.
Buffalo has 2 1s, 2 2s, and 2 3s, and of course 1 next year. They have so many picks. Buffalo made the playoffs. I was at that game in Jacksonville. They're 9-7 with a really good roster.
There's a
Don't have
Buffalo Bills
quarterback.
playoff game?
There's-
I was there.
And they already traded up once to 12, and they didn't trade up there just to sit there and wait and hope a quarterback falls to them.
Exactly.
Those are great points. If you do get Josh Rosen,
Yeah.
what do you think the season looks like for you?
12-4.
In the East?
Oh, the East is horrible. I think New England even takes a step back. The Jets
Yeah,
are
they
the
got
Jets.
so much
His
chaos
rookie
going on.
year, I mean, he's the most pro ready for sure.
So that's who you were talking about, though.
I think
I like so if this is where we're going to talk about Josh Rosen,
Yeah, go ahead. Might as well.
I think he checks all the boxes.
Oh yeah,
He's
Injury prone?
accurate. That's the one
durability.
thing, and that's probably one of the reasons why he might fall. But he's accurate. He's got great mechanics, good arm, good size. Produced in college, played well. So there's the injury issues. Now he had a couple concussions, and then he had a shoulder surgery the season before last.
Something like tennis, right?
And he grew up playing multiple sports, but yeah. Then there is going to be a little bit of the thing, some of his off the field, and it's not off the field knuckleheadness. It's outspoken political stuff, which the league has shown
They don't like.
they will. You can pay the price sometimes.
On either side,
On a
because you got Tebow
mediocre-
and you've got
Yeah, but I have an interesting point here.
Okay, sure.
Okay, Colin Kaepernick is the extreme when you think of political, just speaking your mind as far as kneeling during the national anthem. I don't think he kneels during the national anthem because that's not.
Rosen?
Yeah, I don't think
No,
he does
but-
that. But
no.
he's politically outspoken. But I don't think he gets painted in the light like Colin Kaepernick does.
Okay, college. How many college guys make political statements? Very few. But he
Yeah,
goes.
so he stands out.
To a Trump golf course and wears a hat. I don't know how you are in language in this show, but wears a hat
fucking come with it.
that says "fuck Trump." I mean, that makes headlines. And he's known to be outspoken, and he's known to question stuff. So who knows what that's going to lead? And there's going to be owners who worry about that.
Sure. And
Because it
but
could be a distraction from your
there's
leadership
don't
position.
always
think-
owners,
I
but it
think
only
he's a
takes
smart
is
enough,
one.
Yes, and I think he's a smart enough
like
kid to
that.
know where to draw the line.
Yeah,
His
So-
good outweighs his bad.
But there are owners who will worry about that.
I agree with that. Totally agree.
Because he's the leader of your locker room. So that could divide the
And
locker room.
that's another thing. Everything you hear about him, you didn't hear anything bad. He was a team captain, all that. He just checks all the boxes, and I
Too smart.
To me, people are overthinking it with Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield and any of that. Rosen and Sam Darnold are.
They're reaching
You
for it.
watch them, and they're just guys that should go near the top of the draft. That's what they are. They're quarterbacks. They're Matt Ryan.
And
is
isn't
what-
that insane that the Jets will draft Baker Mayfield over Josh Rosen?
It's a jet.
It is.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
And we all agreed on it, too. That's just insane.
and that's what I mean.
Your job is to
We're
draft
four very
quarterbacks.
intelligent, good-looking guys, but like the NFL, they get paid millions of dollars for it.
How?
It's
Why?
like-
I'm sorry. I know we're going a little off topic here,
Sure,
but
no.
as your profession is scouting, or it's just to get the right pick. What in your right mind makes you pick Mayfield over Rosen? And we all agree that they're going to do it, so it's not like it's kind of. Of course, anything can happen, but we're assuming they do that.
The same thing
How?
that made Johnny Manziel a first round pick. There was a lot of magic in college. There was a lot of magical moments.
Carries momentum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right, guys. Number 6.
He
is
knows,
who's
he knows
going-
everything.
Max. What was your fifth?
I concur with them. They commit.
Okay.
Yeah, just such
Wow,
great points.
I love it.
What was yours?
Just going with you guys.
Okay.
I'm taking the.
You kind of want to let Ryan just break it down?
Yeah, number 6, the
Well-
Colts pick Quentin Nelson.
offensive linemen. One thing I'll say is the thought on offensive linemen for the longest time was, they don't bust that much, and that's just not the case anymore. So many offensive line, even if they go in the top 10,
Oh,
do
yeah,
bust.
Chris Fisher.
Yeah, Eric Fisher.
Eric
But
Fisher.
yeah, so many of them do bust, and even interior offensive line,
I'm a
which is guys.
wordsmith.
Now this guy's rated high, and he'll probably be pretty good, but that's about all.
Yeah.
He's an offensive lineman, not a sexy pick, but hopefully it works for him. Well, actually it's Indy, so hopefully it doesn't.
Number 7, guys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Safety from Florida State. Another Seminole for you, Shawnee. Derwin James.
Derwin.
Derwin James. Derwin.
I like him. He's versatile. He can do a lot. I think what scheme he gets in is going to matter a lot, and he can do different things. But
High for a safety, though.
But it's
It
the
is,
Bucks.
but
They pick
yeah.
high, and
we'll see. I'm not completely sold on him.
Yeah, me either. I'm just like, I think a 22nd pick of the draft. Okay, cool. I like it. Number 7, I don't like it.
He's super athletic, can play. Just from watching the Florida State games, I didn't see a ton of instincts there.
so what would you think would be the pick? What would do you think he's going to go there, or do you think that they could go somewhere else? Because I've got one. They've got Minkah Fitzpatrick.
I'll talk. If you want to talk about Minkah right now, the thing about Minkah is where he played best was at slot corner. When they moved him around. He
That's
played best
a
at slot corner,
high
and
pick
that's
for a slot corner.
too high. He doesn't look great or natural on the outside. You can make him some type of safety or something, but then that's not where he looked his best. It was that slot corner, and
That's where they have him listed as safety.
yeah, and he moved around a lot with Alabama, and not that he was ineffective as a safety, but he looked really good as a slot corner, which is great. And if you're going to do him safety and move him down there some, but it's just and once again, it's going to be up to the coach to have the right scheme and move him around and use him the right way.
Cool, Sean. You like that pick? You're,
Sure.
you're
So-
the Bucks.
Yeah, so we're going. What are we going there?
I don't think number 6. I said a player.
Oh yeah, neither.
So for me, number 6, and Indy won't trade to Bradley Chubb's on the board. I
No.
don't think, and I think that's who they take in my mock because
Okay.
he's still available.
What about you, Dave?
I'm trying to think. I have Chubb going. I had Barkley going already.
Yep.
Nah, I got him picking the offensive line. I got him picking Nelson.
Do you?
Yeah.
Max is over here taking a drink. He's
Gotta
got
hydrate.
to hydrate for this pick.
Hydrate.
Sorry, I didn't realize how thirsty I was until I started drinking. So, me too, sir.
All right.
Same here.
Sean's got different kind of drink. All right, number 8, guys. Chicago Bears picking Smith,
Threw
linebacker
that in
from
there.
Georgia.
Roquan Smith. He is my 4th of the
We
high
never
floor,
said to the Bucks pick.
high upside. We'll get back to it. So I got to talk about this guy for a second. This is my favorite player in the draft.
Ooh.
Oh,
Whoa.
This is
I'd
something
lo-
you're supposed to announce when you start.
You know, did you watch this kid?
Yeah, he's a Georgia Bulldog. I saw him 6 times.
He is just he makes so many big plays. He's all over the field. He's always in the right place. And I'm talking when I say big play, I'm talking it's a 3rd and 1 and you see a guy about to hit the hole and all of a sudden boom, he fills it and it's like where did he come from? He's just got great instincts. He tested well athletic. They say he's a great kid. Just from watching this kid, he's my favorite player and I think he's Pro Bowler. Period. That's his floor. Pro Bowler.
Better than Deion Jones?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Wow. Okay. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
And then Chicago, they got the quarterback they think from last year. You know, it's the quarterback from the other side, from the defensive side. So I think Chicago's setting it up nice.
Yeah.
Back to Tampa, who they think. I think, guys, jeez, because the draft kind of went wacky for us.
I'm starting to lose track, to be honest.
I got him picking Mika Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
That's who I have. Tampa. And then number 8. Number 8, I actually have in my draft. I have Chicago picking Calvin Ridley. Guru?
I'll put Tampa taking Denzel Ward because he hadn't gone yet in mine. And then with Chicago, I'll keep them with Roquan Smith.
No, you're right. I don't have Denzel Ward in mine, so that's who Tampa picks. My fault. Hey, get
Takes
that
a big
pick.
man to admit when he's wrong.
Hey, that was quick. All right, number 9, San Francisco 49ers.
Dave's a big man all the time then.
In this mock draft, Mika Fitzpatrick from Alabama. We kind of talked about
Yeah.
him. I don't think San Fran goes there. I think they have to go offensive side of the board. Maybe a wide receiver, maybe a second one too high. Maybe not a running back. I think they trade out. I think we haven't said Josh Allen's name. And who
I
knows? We hit maybe the Smith, the
Wait, you've
linebacker,
had
doesn't
Josh
get picked
Allen drafted?
In my
You
mock,
had number 1, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I just have San Francisco trading out of that pick.
Thank you. Ryan, I want to ask you a quick question. I never even got to ask you. I think you kind of dived in depth with it. You think Josh Allen becomes a good NFL player, or is he a bust?
He's got a lot of upside. I think the percentage of him being good is not real high. So I watched a few of his tapes, and you see the big arm, you see the size, and he's the second most athletic quarterback in the draft after Louisville. So he's got a lot to like physically and what he can do with his arm.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He was pretty inconsistent with his accuracy, would miss some easy throws that you shouldn't be missing. He played at a low level of college, and like Carson Wentz played about the same level at the same level as he did, but Carson Wentz dominated that level. Josh Allen didn't even dominate that level. But then to me, the huge issue that I have is all the tapes I watched, he never went through reads. He would stare down one receiver and either try to throw the ball to him, force it to him, or he would scramble and throw the ball away or scramble for outs. NFL quarterbacks have to do that, and he has not shown at all he can do that. So based on his physical gifts and everything he has,
Yeah.
he's worth a second-round pick.
But you have him going number 1. So what do you think Cleveland sees in him? Just all the upsides?
I
Just
think,
ignores
I think
the downsides?
Cleveland watches tape with beer goggles on. I don't know why they picked Johnny Manziel, and everyone I knew said that guy's going to be a bust. He's an awful pick, and they picked Johnny Manziel in the first round.
So you
True.
don't think they learn from their mistakes at all and just
It's
kind of
Cleveland. They've never learned from their mistakes.
No.
Why are they so poorly run? I know it's kind of such an obvious, dumb question, but okay, you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron James, I understand, has brought them success, but they're not a well-run franchise. And then you have the Cleveland Browns. They're not a well-run franchise. What is it with Cleveland?
Indians.
No, the Indians are great.
It's just bad luck? Poor people in office?
Yeah, I don't know. There used to be an explanation for Cincinnati. Cincinnati was one of the only teams that didn't have a separate scouting department. They made their assistant coaches do the scouting.
You should be a scout, Ryan. I could see you as a scout.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm
I
being
like
all-
my
like,
job,
all
though, so I'm going to
serious.
stick
All
with it.
serious. Just in your downtime, just be like, yeah, I just watch film,
All right, let's round out number 10, guys. Oakland Raiders and this mock draft. Veit from Washington. Defensive
I
tackle.
think he can be an effective player. I have a problem with that in the top 10 because his position, he's probably not a 3-down lineman. He's a big no. He's not a 3 technique. He's a big no. He's a run stuffer. And in the NFL,
Especially
and
in
he's an
this
effective player that's
NFL.
probably going to help a team, but it's just hard to justify a top 10 pick on him.
And I think John Gruden's going to pick a defensive end. I really do. I think some kind of edge rusher, maybe like a Marcus Davenport, Tremaine Edwards, maybe someone like that. Edmonds. Thank you.
Wow.
He's so
I
quick.
remember when Ryan first came on, he was like, you got to correct him when he's wrong on the pronunciation.
And Max is like,
changed.
I'll be doing it all night.
And nothing has changed. 1 year
I
later.
don't know why am
and
I
from
doing
March,
this? Why am I saying all the names? I'm the worst at it.
Nothing
It's
has
like,
changed.
I'm doing all the names.
So what do we got? What did you guys pick 9 and 10 then?
All right, we'll stop ours in the top 10 then.
Yeah.
All right, so
Number
Number
9, I have number 9. They're going to trade that pick.
Okay.
And Smith, linebacker, Georgia, gets picked by number 9. I don't know who trades up, but someone does. Like Green Bay.
yeah, I'll say with. You know what? I'll stick with the trade thing, but I'll say someone trades up to take Lamar Jackson.
Ouch. Ouch.
What do you think of Lamar?
I think that's too high for him to go.
Because I have a lot of
At number 10, I got Davenport.
a lot of people say dominated college. Why isn't he projected to go higher in the draft? Do you not think he's like an NFL ready quarterback?
He's definitely not an NFL ready quarterback right now. Real quick, number 10, I'd go Harold Landry. Not that I like the pick, but he's got a good arm. He does. He doesn't have not an elite arm.
Gifted.
He's very athletically gifted.
Beyond.
He has a good arm. He's like a lot of other quarterbacks who came out. He was so accurate in college. He was not high level of accuracy. He was not asked to go through reads frequently. He did some, but not frequently. And then he was definitely not asked to throw timing throws or into small windows, which is a big thing. Most for the most part in the NFL, most teams are going to need to do that, and he hasn't shown he can do that. And now there's a lot of guys that come out of college and haven't shown they can do it, and some of them can, most of them can't. That's the hardest skill to master as a quarterback. And so to me, and that's why I always feel like when I see these quarterbacks come out, it's hard to justify taking a guy in the top 5 or wherever you're talking about taking a guy that hasn't shown he can do that, because that's such a low percentage of guys can actually do it. And that's why I don't get why Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold, well, Sam Darnold is, but like Josh Rosen isn't being thought of high, because those two guys did that in college a lot. They threw a lot of timing. They threw into small windows. None of these other guys have done that.
Cool.
Before we round out the top 10, I'm missing your 6 through 10 there.
Yeah, I'll come back with
We'll
that.
get
Yeah, I'll
those
get
down
back
there.
with
We'll
it.
put it up on there. So let's just go. We'll
Yeah,
just
I'm going
talk
to go
about
11 through
picks.
15.
We'll talk picks
and
real
then we'll
quick.
jump into it.
Cool.
In this, Miami, they have him picking Josh Rosen. He didn't get picked earlier. 12 for Buffalo, who didn't get the trade up. They have him picking Josh Allen, which I think in this mock, they think they're going to have him trade up to pick Josh Allen. 13, Washington Redskins, Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker, Virginia Tech. Number 14, Green Bay Packers, Marcus Davenport, defensive end, who I like a lot. And number 15, the guy we just talked about, Arizona Cardinals, same thing, not trading up, but stays there and picks Lamar Jackson.
All right, so already talked about all those quarterbacks pretty much. Tremaine Edmonds, I want to touch on him real quick. So first of all, he's 19.
No, I did not.
Wow.
So that's a big thing.
19.
Yeah, he's 19.
Who was the Houston Texan?
Amobi Okoye. Who busted. Which maybe it's part of the reasons I'm not a big fan of Tremaine Edmonds. But so he's 19, physical freak, athletic as can be. He's got an older brother who's going to get drafted probably third, fourth round somewhere there. That's a safety. Brings some value as he might be an outside linebacker. Maybe he brings some upside or possibility to be a pass rusher. However, he's pretty raw and honest. Like I watched a couple of his tapes too, and I mean he on one of them. He literally completely screwed up an assignment, gave up a 75-yard touchdown because he was supposed to be covering the running back, and he thought the running back was going to block, took his eyes off him. It just not a play you can't afford to make, especially in the NFL. He just had a lot of mistakes and was in the wrong place and a lot. So he doesn't seem to have great linebacker instincts. So now you're projecting him. He had some pass rush success, but that wasn't his primary job.
Yeah.
So now you're projected. To me, if you're taking him this high, you're projecting him as a pass rusher, which is not something he's proven he can do consistently.
Sure.
So he's got a lot of upside, and he may be a freaking all-pro in 3 years, or he may be a complete bust. But 13 for you're projecting him to do something that he didn't do consistently in college. That's pretty high for that guy.
Especially, I think Washington, they have a lot of holes. I think they can go so many more players. There's so many more safe players to pick in the draft. So, yeah, I'm with you. I don't like that pick at all. I do like Marcus Davenport a lot for Green Bay, and I think Green Bay, out of anything, they just need athletes. They need game changers, especially on the defensive side. So I think it's a great pick for him. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I like Davenport. Something he's very obviously he's UT San Antonio, so he's a low level of competition, and that's a big question mark. But in this draft, after Bradley Chubb, there's not a lot of high end pass rushers, and so he's probably going to get pushed up higher than what he otherwise would.
Sure. Okay. You guys cool with that?
Yeah.
All right. 16 through 20. Baltimore. Mike McGillicuddy.
McGlinchey.
Oh, boy.
McGillicuddy?
Ryan just waits for his moments.
Yeah.
Just loves watching
Seven.
him struggle with
You want me to
the
say
name.
these?
Yeah.
All right.
You say the next couple.
17, the Chargers taking Rashaan Evans. They got the Seahawks taking DJ Moore.
That's your guy?
That is my guy. The Cowboys, Leighton Vander Esch.
Wow.
And then they got Detroit at 20 taking Taven Bryan,
That
your guy, who I
stud.
like him a lot.
Yes. No, he's going to be a really good player. I don't ever see him be like an all-pro. Like, he's not a top 10 pick, but at 20, that's exactly what you want. Like, he's going to be a legit, really, really good player.
He's got the upside athletically to be Pro Bowl caliber. So we'll go backwards since we start with Taven Bryan.
Sure. Go for it.
All right. Leighton Vander Esch at number 19 to the Cowboys. He's a guy, he was fairly productive in college and had coming in, but then he's one of these guys who shot up from the mid to late second round now into the first round because he tested well.
Right.
So those guys just don't seem to usually work out, but I think 19's high. He's more of a second rounder. I like DJ Moore a lot. He's my favorite receiver in the whole draft.
Whole draft.
Which it's not a great receiver draft.
Oh, it's one of the worst ever.
But he's very athletic. He can get open on his own, which is a big thing. Good hands. He needs to improve his route running is a big thing. But he's got everything else there.
No, and we talked about this. In Maryland, you said they don't throw the ball a lot, right?
They went through 4 different quarterbacks, and they were mostly rushing quarterbacks.
But do you think that could be a problem that he's not used to getting the ball thrown to him 9, 12 times a game?
He still had over 1,000 yards with those insufficient quarterbacks.
Okay. The guru who wins again. All right. That's good. Top 20?
Sure.
Okay. All right. 21 through 25.
I do apologize. I'm going to issue a statement now. Something about Ryan correcting you just cracks me up so much. It's just like,
It's the way he does it. It's just so matter of fact.
The way he does it is so nonchalant. And then he's like, you want me to just take this list? And he's like, yes,
We've
please.
known each other for like 15 years.
I've been correcting him for 15 years.
To you guys,
It started with Ben Roethlisberger.
Jeff Francoeur.
I killed that name, right?
No, after like a month of training, I got you to
to
say
you,
it.
to you guys, it's nothing new. But like we're over here like just hand in our face. But
Well, I mean.
Maybe we should get a podcast together.
it's called Hayward, right?
Gordon Hayward.
There you go.
See? All right, 21, Cincinnati. They got that pick from Buffalo. Billy Price, center from Ohio State. Okay. Number 22 is Buffalo's second number 1 pick. I don't think they have this pick because I have them moving up. They get that from KC. Number 23, New England Patriots, defensive end Harold Landry. 24, Carolina Panthers.
Did you get scared to say that name? Because you didn't say who Buffalo's taking.
I didn't really. Yair Alexander.
It's not a silent J, but yeah, Jair.
Pretty close. 24, the Panthers. That's weird. A tight end, Greg Olson's probably their best offensive player other than Cam. Hayden Hurst. And then 25, the Titans. Pick Sam Hubbard.
All right, so I'm going to touch on some of these real quick. We'll start with Harold Landry. Okay. He, after Chubb, he's probably the best pure pass rusher. And this is he probably goes higher in this because he is a really good bend player, and he can get pressure on the quarterback. He leaves a lot to be desired in the run game and run defense.
So he's one-dimensional then. He's just pass rush.
Yeah, he's got a lot. He needs to add some strength and some size probably, or either that or more effort, whatever it is. But he needs to get better against the run. Or he'll just stay that, and he'll be kind of a one-trick pony that's what his thing is in the NFL.
You know.
But because of that pass rush upside, he's probably going to go higher than this. Not necessarily saying he should, but he probably will.
Right. Well, you had him top 10.
Yeah, because they're pass rushers just like offensive tackles. They get pushed up the board.
I've got him on the draft I'm pulling up. I've got 18 of the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm. And the Seahawks wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
They would be a good. He's the type of player they take.
Right. Yeah.
Hayden Hurst is a tight end from South Carolina. He played baseball for a little bit. He's 25. So one thing that always worries you a little bit with those guys is that. So he was 24, 25 going up against 19 and 20-year-olds a lot, is that they're kind of maxed out and that they may have been dominating because they're basically just
6'5", 250. I mean,
this is their ceiling. They've already hit their ceiling. These other guys are still on the up. And that he's got some athleticism, some things to like. And he is actually one of the few guys that is a solid route runner, pass catcher, and will block, is a willing blocker and is a decent blocker. So he's got that. I just feel like he may already be close to maxed out. Sam Hubbard's a decent pass rusher, but I don't feel like has the upside you would usually like in a first-round pick, but it's a fairly weak draft for pass rushers. It's got some depth, but high-end it's weak. So now that Dave's back, he can read the next 5 picks.
He comes back, and I look up, and he's glaring at me. I'm like, oh, my God.
You won't stop laughing. You're bugging the crap out of me.
Ryan makes it even funnier than last time. He said, you're just skipping names now? It's just getting worse.
All right.
Okay.
All right, let's get it together.
Yeah, I'm good.
These are the last 7 picks. They're all really good playoff teams, championship aspirations. 26, Atlanta picks Daron Payne. I think I said that right. 27.
New Orleans at 27, they have Calvin Ridley. The Steelers at 28, Justin Reed. Jacksonville at 29, Will Hernandez. The Vikings, Frank Ragnow, center from Arkansas. The Pats, I have Colton Miller from UCLA. And the Eagles, Darius Geis.
I love that pick, actually. That's one of my picks.
So then we'll start with Darius Geis. There. Now, I've heard some talk about him going higher. To me, there's those next group of running backs after Barkley, who's clear-cut number 1.
Sure.
There's 3 or 4 of them kind of grouped, but it's late first, second round for all of them.
And Philly's got that pick, and they just lost.
And if he's the one out of them they like the most, then that's not bad. Now, if he goes 15 or something, then I don't feel like it's a great pick. Calvin Ridley, we can talk about him. Alabama receiver. Do you like Ridley?
No. So I don't like Ridley. I like the Saints picking a wide receiver there. You like DJ Moore. We went back and forth. My locked in early. My number 1 wide receiver pick out of this whole draft is Christian Kirk from Texas.
Is this your locked in?
Yeah, I'm going early with it. I love Christian Kirk. I like him, the person. It's the new NFL. I just think he's uber fast. He's going to make plays in special teams. He's going to get tons of yards. After the catch, Christian Kirk's my number 1 wide receiver.
Wow. So I feel like we're obligated to tell our locked-ins. I'll wait.
We gonna wait? All right.
Yeah.
I like Christian Kirk. I don't really like him as a first rounder. I'll tell you what Calvin Ridley is. He's got straight line speed, but other than that, he's not very athletic, and he's going to have a hard time getting open.
Is he like Hilton from the Colts?
No. Hilton's much. He's not quick twitch or explosive. He's just got straight line speed, and that's it. T.Y. Hilton can get open. Now, if he did go to the Saints like they have here, those kind of guys can succeed in the NFL. That's,
sure.
Because he is a really good route runner. and he'll create some space, but he's not going to create a lot because he doesn't have the athleticism. So a place like the Saints with a very accurate Drew Brees who throws on timing routes, he can have success there. But he can't just go anywhere and work and be a number one.
Oh, I agree. No,
so
absolutely agree.
That's going to be part of the thing. Most of the rest of these, I do like Justin Reed from Stanford. He's a safety. I think it's going to be pretty good.
And the Steelers have been picking really good young defensive players. So, like, that would just be another, you know.
The Will Hernandez, the guard for UTEP, I like him. He's got a nasty streak to him.
A lot of mock drafts, I've been seeing any of those quarterbacks, any of those 5 that somehow just drop, and everyone thinks they could be top 10 picks. If any of those 5, Lamar, Allen, 29, they have Jacksonville picking them.
I've seen 29. I've seen the Saints taking them, and I've also seen the Pats taking them. So.
Yeah, 27, 31. Any of those 5 drop.
Do you see any possible chance that like the first top 10 picks, all 4 quarterbacks are drafted?
4?
Yeah.
No, I mean 5. I'm sorry.
5.
I had all 5 going in my.
So you think it's definitely plausible?
Yeah, like 4 is 100%, I think. And then I think one of those guys, we talked about it. It could be like Josh Allen, though. Some people think he's number 1. I can see him dropping to 18, 22,
Lamar
27.
Jackson.
I could see Lamar Jackson falling to the end of the first too.
That's my gut feeling. I think he drops.
I think Lamar gets drafted higher than Josh Allen.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Josh Allen's the
Ryan
dropper.
has Josh Allen going number 1, so I know you don't agree with
I'm
that.
just
the
banking on
Browns.
the Browns doing something stupid.
But yeah. Lamar Jackson, first overall
think-
pick, number 1.
The closer it gets to it, I think Lamar goes into the top 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, then there's been a lot
Who
of
takes him?
noise.
Could be like a team, like any of those picks, 5, 6, or 9, or even that 10 pick. I think San Fran's definitely trading. I think Denver's trading. Maybe the Colts again.
Watch Arizona to take a quarterback.
I was gonna say,
They're
what
a
is
team
their
that could trade
plan?
up.
What is Arizona's plan?
I could see them taking a quarter, especially
They need one, right?
the people who need time, because they got not Carson Palmer.
Sam
Who did
Bradford.
Yeah, Sam Bradford. So they got him, so I could see them getting a guy that they want to sit for a year or two behind Sam Bradford. But, of course, Sam Bradford won't stay healthy, so that won't happen. But I would watch Arizona as a team that I think could pull that a slight surprise like it was with Kansas City last year.
Yeah. And like it's a 1 this year and the 1 next year to move up 12 to 5. 12
All right,
to 9.
so what do you think would be, say, not necessarily first round, but a steal of the draft? What do you think is like a golden gem that maybe somebody might get in a mid to late round that people may or may not be talking about?
A guy I like that I think is going to go in the second that I think is going to be successful is Ronald Jones, USC running back. DJ Moore, now they have him going a lot higher than I've usually been seeing him. He was a guy that I've been seeing going late first or second, and I thought if he went that, he was going to be, if he ends up going there, to me, he'll be a bit of a steal. There's an offensive tackle I like a lot from Pitt that I think is going to be pretty good, but I don't want to bore y'all with too much on offensive linemen.
You like Mason Rudolph?
No.
Okay.
You guys go with the NFL mock?
Well, I had another question. What do you guys think? I mean, we're local. We kind of got to talk about it with the
UCF,
the self-proclaimed, only undefeated national champions.
God, such bull.
I know someone on there,
Really?
so I don't want to offend him because you had a terrific season, hard work. But I just don't think it's right.
No, I
personally don't.
I don't think it was right that they didn't get a chance to play in the playoffs.
Right, I agree with that as well.
Even if you agree with that, do you still think it's right to have a ring, a national championship ring? You didn't win the national championship.
Yeah, but you know what? Pre-AP, 4 teams every year just hey, we won the title, and they all claim it. Alabama claims 32
but that
titles.
waters it down.
So
I know.
So I think you know where I'm going. But what do you think of Shaquem Griffin?
I like him. I watched a few
Ton of
UCF
heart.
games, and he was just all over the field. Now, he's a tweener, so he's got to get that figured out. And ultimately, if he can't, then he may just contribute on special teams because he doesn't have linebacker size, and he's got the straight line speed and all that, but he doesn't have DB type movement. He can't cover receivers or good running backs, good tight ends. So the thing he did the best at UCF was rush the passer. Mm-hmm. Well, he's just too undersized to do that.
Yeah,
in the
he's
NFL.
real small to do that
So
in the NFL.
he could be an undersized linebacker and have some success. That's just it's tough. Those are few and far between. But I'm definitely, seems like a good kid. I'm rooting for him. But he's a tweener, and he's going to have to get in the right scheme that allows him to succeed.
Do you think that his draft value raises or lowers because of the hand issue? Do you think that is
it
something?
100% lowers.
Yeah. I mean, or do you think? I just didn't know if somebody might go that pick to,
It like makes him stand out, but at the
Right.
same time, it does hurt him.
Right. Do you think people might look at it because he overcomes so much with that? Do you think that they might maybe not necessarily correctly, but overdraft him basically because they think that he might because the heart he puts into the game. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no. To be overdrafted, he would almost have to be like a second rounder, and I just don't see a team spending a second rounder because of that.
Right.
Like maybe if he should be a seventh rounder and he gets picked in the fifth, maybe a team will throw a fifth rounder out.
Right.
But teams covet those picks pretty high. I think there's a good chance he goes in the third round, which is and if he didn't have that, maybe he could be a late second rounder because there were certain teams that would see him as a fit as an undersized linebacker. But
I'm just wondering if the point I was trying to make is, do you think that because of his shortcomings, people will look at him. If he didn't have that, he might fall back into the pack, and people might not see him as much.
No, because he was turning heads at the combine.
Okay.
What he tested at the combine turned heads.
With the bench press. And,
that's because when he put on thing, but no, just his numbers that he tested, especially his 40,
he's fast.
Got enough attention by itself.
Right.
True.
Okay.
Sounds good. Do you have any?
No, I think that was the only other point I wanted to hit. I just want to see what we thought about that. So yeah.
Year 2 success, NFL mock draft, locked in mock draft.
Yep.
Can you spare me just like 2 minutes with one quick NBA talk? I'll get right to the point too with your Houston Rockets.
Are we doing locked in on the draft?
I didn't know if you wanted to save it towards the end of the episode. If you want to do it now, then yeah, sure.
We got about 30 minutes.
It's up to you guys. I mean, kind of cap off the NFL talk if you guys want to.
Cool.
Okay.
Your show. Tell me.
Dave, you kind of already gave yours.
Yeah. No, my locked in is Christian Kirk, best wide receiver in the draft, longevity, not just a 1 year, bank player, 9-year, 5-time Pro Bowler, really good player, good person, love it. Christian Kirk.
All right.
And I'll throw this, a little cupcake, little rose on it. The Dallas Cowboys select him in the first round.
All right.
Wow. All right, Guru.
All right. So I think saying Roquan Smith is an all-pro is too easy. So I'm going to go with...
That's still pretty good, bro.
A little riskier and say Josh Rosen is the best quarterback from this draft.
Wow. And it's not crazy to say.
No, it's not. I have Darnold 1, Rosen 2.
Well, I guess my locked in will kind of follow that up. It's similar. I think Sam Darnold stands out as he will be the quarterback of this draft. I think, like I said, I kind of nailed Deshaun Watson, but I'm not guaranteeing it to be like that, but I definitely think he'll stand out and be a great quarterback in this league.
So you have Watson as a better quarterback than Darnold?
Oh, come on, man. That's tough. Yeah, probably. Okay. But I think Sam Darnold has huge potential. Like, I could be wrong, but I have more faith in Watson, assuming he comes back the way he should.
Okay.
I'm going to say we're going to have 5 quarterbacks in the first round.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that Baker Mayfield will probably only last 2 or 3 seasons.
I agree with both of those. Agree.
Knucklehead.
I wish I had a podcast 6 years ago. I called RG3 not being in the league. Like that second year when he was like super high, I was like, he will be out of the league in 2-3 years. People thought I was nuts.
So you think that's...
Oh, his gameplay, I could have seen that too. His gameplay, like, I think he was really overrated. He made some plays, but I think the way he played the position did not...
It wasn't going to last long.
It wasn't a long-term...
So you see that too with Baker?
I
think his head isn't going to make it.
Yeah, it's different. I think his body will actually hold up, to be honest. I just think he's a little bit thicker than maybe what people think. Of course, he's short.
Not if he keeps getting tackled under them walls by Lafayette PD.
It's weird. He's actually one of those guys, like, not flipping. A month ago, I said he wouldn't make it in the league for 2 years, and the more and more I hear about him and see him, and so many people that I like him, I'm like, God, is there something there? He is really accurate. I think he can make the throws. I think I'm going to go back to my gut. I don't think it's 2021. He's not in the league.
I don't know if I'll go as far to say that. I don't think it's crazy, but I definitely I'm not a fan of him. I don't think he succeeds.
Cool. Great
All right.
football talk, guys.
Quick, I got to jump into the Houston Rockets while we have you here. We talked about it. Do you think, assuming the Warriors are healthy, the Rockets are healthy, you think there was like a 60-40 shot? Dave, you're already laughing. What?
Let's go.
Set back, just cracking up. Okay, you said the Warriors 60% chance they win. Assuming Steph Curry comes back in the second round, he's a little banged up. Do your Houston Rockets make the finals?
You're saying if Steph isn't healthy?
Like
he
he plays. Like, you remember the year that LeBron won? Steph Curry came back, but he was a little banged up. He wasn't the same Steph. Do you, on that type of level, do you give the Houston Rockets the edge to to go to the NBA Finals?
At 50-50.
Wow.
They have home court, so.
Cool. I had to adjust that. And I think if the Houston Rockets do go to the finals, LeBron does not go there. I think they have to lose in order for him to have a better chance to go.
He wants to come and feel like he's pushing them over the top.
Exactly, yeah. Because if they win the finals, I think no matter what team comes out of the West wins the finals. I've gotten to that point. I did think the Cavaliers had a chance with the Houston Rockets. But I'm sorry, but after what happened against the Indiana Pacers, I don't even think they have a shot against any team, assuming they even go out of the East.
Don't sleep on those Sixers.
So are you guys starting to come into what my locked-in was earlier
You
on the
did
season?
nail that a little
God
bit.
dang it,
I
Sean.
did not see that coming.
Wait. Maybe the guru doesn't know about this. 2 months ago, Sean goes, everyone in the world was saying the Warriors and Cavs were in the finals. 2 months ago, Sean goes, I have the Warriors and the Cavs both not making to the NBA Finals. We laughed at him, called him dirty names in front of him and behind his back. And now he looks like he's locked in. This is unbelievable. Like, I think Philly, I'm watching Philly. I think they're the favorites to win the East. I think Houston's going to win the West. I do. I still think the Warriors do.
Houston was Boston was my pick back then, but they've had some issues, so that I don't know.
No, they do.
They still have a shot.
Yeah,
but I don't.
I've been on Boston. Yeah,
No,
Boston has a shot
Without Kyrie,
Yes.
No.
And Gordon, they have a shot.
Stop.
No.
I don't even
I
think
don't
Better
think
than
they do
Toronto. I think they're better than Cleveland.
I think Milwaukee
it's
still
Philly or
beats them.
Boston.
I really do.
Oh, no, Boston. I mean, Milwaukee's.
And they're not better than the 76ers. I don't even think this team beats the
it's-
Cavs.
does
Philly?
everyone know what happens if the Rockets do win it all?
No, it's enlighten us.
Oh, wait. There's a bet. Isn't there a bet?
If my teams between the Rockets, the Texans, Longhorns football and basketball win a title before his teams, which is the Gators, the Bills, and the Knicks, then he has to wear that team's jersey, which in this case would be a Rockets jersey for a year.
Wow. I
The
do
great
remember,
Chris
I do
Paul.
remember hearing this. Yeah.
So
But hey-
it'd be a little bit of retribution.
Does he have to wash
A
the jersey?
lot of retribution for you.
Yeah. How many bets have you lost to Dave?
You know, hey, listen to this. The Brock Osweiler Buffalo Bills T-shirt bet is only the second worst bet I've ever lost today.
What's the first?
You didn't even make
Dave?
1 year.
Slapped the shit out of me in public because I lost a slap bet to him years ago.
I was there.
House of
Did
beer.
it in public.
Yeah.
Oh, that is still like. And do you remember my reaction? Like I actually started to raise my fist. Like I didn't
I
even
know.
realize it was the bet. I thought I just got slapped. And I was about to punch him. And I was like, oh shoot, yeah.
And I'm like the least. And I was like, I'm going to get him. And it was like,
Dave took it too
Oh
far.
no,
He
he
said
was like,
that-
what are you talking about? We're like, oh, you'll do like 30%. And Dave, you went like 80%
Oh,
on
yeah.
the slap. He
no,
went
I did.
hard.
And like, I didn't mean to go 80%. I'm like, okay.
Oh, because
I
they
would've.
distracted me, had me look a different direction, and then
Yep.
turned my head. So it was like my head was turning one way, and then
That's what it
hands
was.
coming.
It was like, I'm trying to get him, but he was like turned into
Oh,
him. And I
my
was
God.
going, I was like,
So Ryan
So
almost
you went
ended
like
your life.
60. He went the other 20.
yeah. And I went to go 30. And it was like, I put some steak on it.
Damn. Well, Ryan, it was a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I hope if LeBron doesn't win the finals, I do hope the Rockets do.
I'm
So-
definitely rooting to see Dave in a Rockets jersey.
Oh, I'll be coming to all these just to.
I don't
stand
think
around
it's
and
going to
watch.
happen. No, I'm sorry. I still think the Warriors win.
I just don't know how Max thinks the Rockets will win if they got an underachieving point guard. So I just don't know how that would
because they have
happen.
James Harden. There you go.
I do like James Harden. The beard, the number.
I don't hate Chris Paul just because
You
I'm a
hate him.
little
You hate
spec-
his family. You said you hate his kids.
Yeah.
just because I'm a little.
You said he's an overrated father.
Yeah.
You know.
Who
That
were
way.
the two picked ahead of Chris Paul?
Deron Williams
Mm-hmm.
and
Who was number one that year? Chris Paul's year.
2004.
I'm on it.
Okay. Our producer's on it. Yeah, this is good. I know
Because
Darren Williams
you're
was
saying,
number
you're
2.
saying he's underachieved.
He's been.
What did you expect from the number 3? He's a Hall of Famer. Period. That's
No, I'm
said
not.
and done.
That's not what I'm
So what did you
disputing.
expect from the number 3 pick in the draft?
That's not what
They
I'm
had
disputing.
Darren Williams and
Someone who busted probably because he was Rookie of the Year.
Hold on, almost
I
there.
can dive into this. We can go probably another hour
Andrew
talking
Bogut.
about it.
Andrew Bogut.
Like he
He's
got
a great
picked
player.
those
No, I'm
two
playing. I'm
guys.
playing.
And he's the Hall of Famer.
Andrew
crazy?
Bogut, Marvin Williams, Deron Williams, Chris Paul was number 4.
Four.
Number
Oh, sorry,
4, that's
4.
even better. Marvin Williams was in front of him from North
Darren Williams
Carolina,
was
who was a
legit.
can't-miss prospect. Like, when
Dude,
he came out, he
You
was
guys,
can't-miss.
I didn't say Chris Paul is not a Hall of Famer. Like those words never came out of my
No,
mouth.
underachieved came out of your
Yeah,
mouth.
Yes,
which
it
is
did,
even
and I still
worse.
hold to it.
And I said it's the
without a
it's
doubt.
the wrong word.
What?
You haven't gotten to the Western Conference
I don't
Finals.
think that word means what you think it means.
It does. And we put a
I
poll.
said it from the very
And
beginning.
I knew your best friends, and you were gonna take us out. We put a poll up. 60% said he did.
That's
Like people say it, and I talk to a lot of people
on
think he
Twitter.
has. It's
They're
not
9
just
years
me.
old.
How is
Oh,
the
but you
fourth-
really?
How
Twitter's
is the
9 years
fourth
old now.
being a Hall
But
of
you'll
Famer
die.
underachieving?
Did Dan
You'll
Marino
die-
underachieve?
You'll
Hey.
die by the Twitter poll
No,
when it
Dan
favors you.
Marino
though.
is not an underachiever.
26th, 23rd pick?
Yeah,
But he
I'm
made
talking
one
about just
Super
Chris
Bowl.
Paul.
Who have the best all-time 4th picks in the NBA draft?
I'm just talking about Chris Paul. And will he, if he wins a championship this year, I'm done. Yes, because he played, he was smart. He played with James Harden. He played with a good team, and he won. I'm done. But to be an all-time great point guard, which he is, I'm not disputing that. But he
But he
didn't.
underachieved.
Yes, to some point he has.
I just don't get
He
it.
hasn't gone to the Western Conference Finals.
The Western Conference
Yeah,
Finals.
Yeah, I'm not even saying the finals.
No,
I'm saying
I
the Western
understand
Conference
He
Finals.
has not had the success you would hope for in the
Yeah, he's
playoffs.
melted
That's-
down. That's the knock on James Harden. That's the knock on D'Antoni. Is
That's-
that they
that's
melted
not
down in
his-
the playoffs.
It's
That's
not his
underachieving.
fault. If he was in the East, he would make it to 8 Eastern Conference Finals.
What-
He just hasn't. You know,
So
it's just
you're
like a-
taking what people saw from him in his first 2 or 3 years, and then what they expected from going on. But you got to look at him just when he's coming out in the draft, when he's picked, coming out of college. What he was looked at, okay, he's a real good player. He's going to go
From
high.
that perspective, then he hasn't. I'm judging him from an all-time perspective. Because when you judge LeBron, and it's so easy to nitpick because they're all-time greats. It's like,
What
okay,
did
he
you
did
expect
this.
from him when he came out of college?
No, I'm saying from that perspective, he hasn't. Okay, thank
But
you.
when was he
From
ever expected to be an all-time great?
But from this scale now, he's an all-time great. So when you look at an all-time great scale, he has. That is my whole point in this. Okay, look, Anthony Davis. I'm not saying he'll be an all-time great. That's not what I'm saying. He has the potential to be, but his knock on him was that he doesn't really win. He just won a playoff series now, thank gosh. But we hold him to that scale where he doesn't win.
I know, Buck. Okay,
Because he was
Wait,
the number 1 overall
you
pick
know,
who was...
Okay, but-
just real quick, just with Anthony Davis, not number 1 overall pick. He won a national championship.
What was Kobe?
With Chris Paul. Just wait with Anthony Davis.
13.
He probably, let's just say, his first 10 years of his career will not make a conference finals because he's in the West and he's not going through Houston anytime soon and he's not going through Golden State anytime soon. They're in 2 dynasties. Anthony Davis is amazing. If you can't watch basketball and know that Anthony Davis is not an amazing first ballot Hall of Famer, all-time great level talent, doesn't mean he underachieved. He's in the West.
I didn't
He's
say
on
that.
the Pelicans. But that's exactly what happened to Chris Paul. And even to a bigger extent, and I've said this forever, Chris Paul had to go through Dallas, who won a championship with Dirk, a dynasty of San Antonio Spurs, and now the beginning
Okay,
of
the championship
Golden
with
State.
Dirk was the weakest championship.
And
But
Chris
Dallas
Paul
was great
has
for
Let's
been...
just say that.
15 years. In the West,
What
they
have
were
the
amazing.
Clippers done when Chris Paul wasn't on that team?
That's right.
In their history. Their
The worst
entire
team
history.
ever in the
he
they're
took the
Cleveland
Cleveland Browns
Yes.
and made them a perennial playoff team at least that much.
Yeah, that's what it's amazing. It's like
Can you give me
It's
this?
the Donald
He
Trump
should have been to
something.
the Western Conference Finals. Yes or no?
no.
What? Like, no?
What
When he
he
went to
done
that team,
was
they had
amazing.
championship aspirations.
because of him.
I'm not even a Blake Griffin fan, but he had a good roster on his hands. It's like it's not like he didn't have help.
Blake Griffin's already out of the league almost
Yeah.
already
Blake
without
Okay,
Chris
he's not
Paul.
out of the league.
He made Blake Griffin. I'm not saying
Yeah.
Blake Griffin didn't have talent and couldn't been good, and he was a number
But I
1
say
pick.
he was putting up great numbers before Chris. But
He was
injuries,
putting up
you're
empty
acting like
numbers.
you're
Yeah,
acting like
empty
Chris
numbers.
left him, and all of a sudden he fell off.
Blake Griffin's
He
not a
got
winning
traded
player.
the first year he got off. It's
Okay,
like
you're
he's
taking
not-
things way out of perspective.
Tobias has outplayed him.
You're taking
He's
things.
outplayed by Tobias
He's
Harris.
You're
bad.
taking things way out of perspective. One, injuries, you're not taking perspective. You're acting like Chris Paul's the only reason why he's dipped. Injuries have been a huge part of that. Secondly, they're in a different
I'm talking about
direction.
injuries, I gotta talk about
That's
Chris Paul.
another reason why they moved on from Blake Griffin. They're heading in a different direction, not just because he's bad.
They're going in a different direction because Chris Paul, their number one player, left.
Of course, and I'm not taking that away. That's
And
not
it's
my
just
argument.
And the first team he was on, I kept on saying he was the Charlotte Hornet who became the Pelicans. Like, he was never been on a great franchise. If he was lucky enough to get drafted to the Lakers or got traded to the Lakers, he would have 2, 3, 4 championships
Or
by
San
now.
Antonio or
And just he
any
got
other
unlucky,
number of-
but his play, it's like in the tunnel, you have to just see how great of a player he is.
If he was
like
in the
Damon-
East,
yeah,
he
makes,
would have at minimum been to a conference championship or maybe even been to a
So has
finals.
Carmelo underachieved?
No. I don't think Carmelo is underachieved. He's an NBA Hall of
No,
Famer.
the argument would be better to say he has than Chris Paul, but no, same thing. He's a number 3 pick. He came out.
So he hasn't underachieved, Carmelo.
Not in my eyes, no.
You're thinking about it just a little bit.
No, I've just never been.
I just want to see where your
a
head's
huge
at.
Carmelo fan because he's never really made his teammates better. For the
Agree.
most part.
Agree.
I
But
agree
I
with
think
that
he
too.
lived to his
Granted, though,
potential, not being.
But granted, that's what you were getting. That's what he was. That's what
Right.
he was never obviously not a point guard. He's never been a point forward. And that's never his thing. But even forwards can make their team. Tim Duncan made his teammates.
Yeah,
Right.
Excellent
Absolutely.
example.
Anthony Davis this year finally
Has.
is making his teammates
Yes.
better.
Yeah.
So, and he's never done that. So, to that point, and you say, he's in him being the number 3 pick. Of course, Darko was a horrible pick, but that was the LeBron draft. It was
Sure.
just that
It's
good.
probably the
And
most stacked draft, yes.
Best draft
he was
ever.
higher rated coming out than
Like,
Chris Paul.
Oh, easily. He won the
Easily.
national championship.
He would have been the number 1 pick in the Darko thing is that was the Cleveland Browns must have told him
Yeah.
what to pick. He would have been the number 1 pick in like 80% of drafts.
Yeah.
Melo.
Okay, so assuming that he was even a higher rated player than Chris Paul was, you still don't think he's underachieved coming out of the
No,
draft?
I'm with him. It's arguable. It's arguable.
And that's fine. You can
Because
argue,
his
but
guy
even
had the
me, I
potential-
don't
And if it
think
is,
he's
it's
underachieved.
slightly underachieved.
But I mean, do you rate?
You almost split
But
hairs.
you rate Chris Paul higher as an overall player than
Dan
what
Carmelo.
Melo
And
would
I
be.
do too.
that's
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I do
so,
too.
Close.
so then Melo kind of did his potential because his ceiling wasn't as high as Chris Paul.
No, his ceilings
Was even
It was
higher.
higher.
Chris Paul.
So how did he not
exceeded
underachieve? Is what I'm
expectations.
saying.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
Chris Paul just exceeded.
Well, 'cause he
all
still had
Like
expectations.
if his ceiling was way higher than Chris
because
Paul.
he's had a really good career. You're treating the guy like he's been a bum.
no, not
an
a
NBA
bum, but-
Hall of Famer, and he's going to be he's going to go down as the top 15 NBA scorer of all time.
Yeah, he's up there as a scorer.
You know,
Well,
longevity.
Okay, so
I don't think this debate will ever end. I think we should take it
will,
to the
it will.
community, see
It
what
will.
people
So
say.
I
on-
have one thing to
so the
say.
Yes, sir.
9-year-olds
3 years ago, this man to my left, David Van Auken, definitively told me multiple times, and we
James
argued
Harden?
about multiple
James
times,
Harden?
that James Harden was having his career year and would never have a better year. He has not only had a better year, he has progressively every year gotten better and better and better.
making his teammates better.
Even when he
Winning!
switches positions.
You can't say anything
True.
about that.
Okay, last point while we're pointing on Dave
Oh,
here.
James Harden's
I
amazing.
knock on Westbrook. I really do. I don't think he makes teammates better.
He's a
I
great
don't.
player.
I think he's more worried about padding stats.
He's a good
He's more
person.
worried about me instead of the team.
I like
Him
Russell.
losing to this Utah Jazz is my perfect example of this. He guards Ricky Rubio full court, who's not even a great shooter. So he's more worried about the individual matchup and how it looks on him than he is with the team defense.
Yep.
Am I right or wrong there?
Oh, 100%.
Thank
I'm
you.
not a Westbrook fan at all.
No, I like Russell.
Okay.
Well, what happened to selfish Russell Westbrook? I can't even
Right,
say
and
that.
now all of a sudden he's a great person.
No, I think he's great. He averages a triple-double 2 years in a row. Never happened. And I just think he's an unbelievable talent. I like Russell.
But you say
I'm pro
selfish
Russell.
Russell Westbrook
Interesting.
prior.
I used to.
Interesting.
He's not a winning player.
He's not at
That
all.
team has too much talent to.
Yeah.
What they do? They had
To lose
Paul
to
George
Utah
and added
Jazz?
one win.
No, I think
Thank
we
you.
talked about
That's
this
my whole
last
point.
episode. I don't think they upgraded their team as much as what people think because I think Victor's a really good player. So the name
wasn't with
recognition,
them.
agree.
Because of
Westbrook.
But you say that
Harden
but
leaves, great. Durant
some
leaves,
people
great.
can't play with other great players. So maybe if Kevin Love, he goes to Cleveland, Chris Bosh, those guys are great, but they go to LeBron and their numbers way decrease. So if Victor goes to just say any great player, maybe to Houston, his numbers maybe decrease.
outside of Westbrook, that's still a decent roster. Steve Adams is horribly
really,
underrated.
no, I think
He is
Steven Adams is a
He's
really
one of
good
the
player.
best true big men in the
Yeah,
league.
you want
I like
him on
Steven
your
Adams.
team.
I
don't
do,
care who
and
you
he's
are, he would fit no matter
grit,
what.
love him. I
And
think
then we
Melo
know
is
Paul
done now.
George
No, Paul
is
George
really
is
good.
he's
Melo-
he's a great Robin.
Melo isn't
not
great, but he
done.
brings value.
He's
He
not
does bring
done.
value. That
You-
roster has underachieved, and it's because of Russell Westbrook.
You treat him like a bum, like, oh, he's done. He's
So where did you have
garbage.
OKC going into the year?
Around what they did
exceeded-
because of Russell Westbrook.
So-
Russell
Westbrook, say that
God,
5
you're
times fast.
contagious for me.
Hey, no, I had him as a 4 seed going into the West, and that's what they were.
Right,
I think
because
they
of
got
him.
where where they're
If you
slotted.
swapped him and James Harden, they're the 2 seed.
That was my perfect example right there. If you put James, 1 second, Dave, I promise.
Chris
If you
Paul,
put
Paul
James
George.
Harden on the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're better. If
No,
you put Kevin Durant
I
on the
disagree
Oklahoma,
if they're the 2 seed because Billy Donovan, I don't know how much he can coach Harden. Okay, Ryan, did Mike D'Antoni help James Harden's numbers?
of course.
Yes, here's the thing.
Okay,
Listen,
and
Billy
I'm just
Donovan's
going through
a good coach, so I don't think we should go there. If you took James Harden and you swapped him and Russell Westbrook, where are the Rockets? 4
Not
seed,
as
5
good.
seed?
the 4 seed.
Okay, so Golden State's the 1 seed, and you don't think that
The Pelicans move
OKC
up.
moves up and they win more games.
They probably do.
All they have to do is win like 54.
I don't think they win a championship. I don't think they're good enough to beat Golden State, maybe Houston with Westbrook. Or
You're talking about Harden on OKC?
Yeah.
They don't have quite the depth, but they're
I
better.
agree.
They're better.
No, I agree with that.
You put even Ben Simmons on this Thunder team. They're better than what they are now.
You know, maybe I'm a Ben Simmons guy. I think he's the 3rd best player in the world
Because
right now.
I'm telling you, that's
But-
the knock on Westbrook. People fall in love with his stats. He's not a winning player.
Hey, that's fine if you want to.
How- like,
he's
if
the
he
4th
loses-
seed in the West.
Go to the Utah
I just think
Jazz.
he's an unbelievable talent.
Let's go to the Utah
No one's
Jazz.
arguing his talent.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the best player in the Utah Jazz?
Donovan Mitchell.
So he's a better player than Russell Westbrook now.
Wait,
Who-
wait. Okay.
So who's
So
this-
wait,
who's-
who's the best player for the Celtics?
No, you're not answering.
Is he a better player than the Greek Freak?
Okay. I'll let it go. You're not answering my questions here, bro.
I said Donovan Mitchell.
All right, I end this debate now.
Yeah.
So-
No, I think Russell's awesome. I will back him. I think he's a great player. Team Jordan.
All right, so kind of wrap it up. We talked about the draft a little bit. I'll try and get like a complete draft if I can get like the first round
Yeah,
from you
first
guys. I'll throw it up in the Locked In community. People can kind of discuss, figure out what they want to go on there. We can continue the Russell Westbrook debate. We can continue
Love that guy.
the
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul debate.
Better than Russell Westbrook?
Uh,
You just said it 3 times.
no, in this series
You
he
asked him
is.
who the best player on
Who's
Utah
the best?
Yeah.
No, I said who's the best player in the series.
No, but you said Utah.
You said on Utah.
Okay, who's the best player in the series?
Russell Westbrook. Easy.
Who's the second best player?
Paul George.
Paul George or Mitchell?
It's
Paul
Paul
George.
George. It's Paul George. Dave.
No, Donovan's awesome, guys.
He
Okay,
is good.
but
It's Paul
there's
George.
it's Paul
Don't-
George.
Don't get
Okay.
crazy.
Okay.
Who's the third? You'd say Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell.
Okay, fourth, Rudy Adams. I would still lean Adams right now. But Adams.
No, better than Rudy Gobert?
Yeah, I would. Yes.
No, he's the
Okay.
defensive player of the
Then
year.
I would still take Melo. The Oklahoma City.
26 minutes a game.
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
Rudy Gobert?
You have the best player in the
French.
series, and you have the better roster, and you're down 3-1.
Yeah, it happens, man. No, LeBron's lost series. It happens. He's the best player in the world. It's hard.
You're again out of context, not with the best roster.
The Braves are probably one of the best teams in the early '90s. They only won one.
There's a
World
lot of
Series.
best rosters that have lost. You know, the Los Angeles Lakers had Kobe Bryant and Shaq, Karl Malone, and they lost in the finals. They had the best roster.
Gary Payton.
And Gary Payton. It happens.
All right, we'll continue this debate on the community. We can keep going,
I'll
but
go
we're
all
gonna have
So
to
disappointed.
start
I'm an
wrapping it
all-nighter.
up. Anything else anybody wants to add? We already did kind of our locked-ins on the draft. Do we want to do anything
No,
else?
definitely get a shirt on the spread shirt locked in.
Yeah,
Definitely get a
spreadshirt.com/locked
t-shirt.
in 2 N's.
Can I just add one last thing? I promise.
Sure.
If we could come to a compromise, and I'm like, you know what? I'm wrong about Chris Paul. If you could admit you were wrong about Westbrook. Wow, my God. Russell Westbrook.
Why can't you guys talk tonight?
What Russell Westbrook?
Would you come to that agreement?
So what you're saying about Westbrook? That he's not a great talent, great player?
No, never said that.
What-
I said he's a phenomenal player, phenomenal talent,
Uh-huh.
but he doesn't make others better, and he doesn't do what it takes to win basketball games. He's more focused on his individual play than he is the team.
This is true.
And you will say that Chris Paul is not an underachiever and he's a great player and a good person.
I'm not saying he's a bad person. Yes, Dave.
You made fun of his kids. All right.
Would you come to that compromise?
I will if you will. If you will.
Okay, but if we would have to say it at the same time. Don't be like 1, 2, 3, and
No.
then be quiet because I know you.
On the 3, I'll say it.
Okay, do you want to say? Are we saying it now, or are we gonna create a clip and put it like on Instagram?
I'm saying it right now. 1.
We'll speak over each other. Do you want to go first?
No, we're speaking over each other.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Chris
Russell
Paul
Westbrook is a little
good.
selfish, and he should pass him more and be a better player and be a better team winner.
Chris Paul has not underachieved. He's a good person as well as a father.
God bless America, guys. Good night.
All right.
No, like always,
Stay locked in.
Yeah, you now locked in with the best. We ain't rocking with the rest. And when it's game time, we gon' put you to the test. Come the ball, we hitting it, kicking it, though. We dribbling, passing it, though. We running over. It's the ring that we flip you in. So what's the news? You want the scoop? You gotta keep it locked to Dave and Mack's podcast through your speaker box. What's poppin', my friend? You know the drop in. And the only thing left to do is keep it locked in.